Hey guys, what's up? This is GP Ebola. And now we're going to talk about some serious stuff because Ebola is not anything to joke about.
Ebola is not anything to joke about.
Ebola is one of the scariest diseases that hit the 21st century. I mean, it's really serious because it has like a mortality rate of 90%. A 90% mortality rate for one disease. Now, that's a lot. And now in this video, we're gonna tell you about the facts about Ebola, the preventions. If there's a cure, we're gonna tell you about that, and then all of the things that you need about Ebola to keep you guys safe. Okay, so let's get started.
Although India has been Ebola-free for quite some time now, the Indian government has shut the door to West Africa, with direct and indirect flights being completely blocked out of the country. And if you travel to any of the Indian airports, you would have noticed that they have a thermal scanning right before they check your passport. This is meant to prevent any Ebola patients coming into the country. Although, with my experiences, as I have recently traveled back into India, it has been done very poorly.
So currently the US has no Ebola patients. The last Ebola patient was a doctor, but he was cured in September 2014. So as of now there are no Ebola patients known in US. However, the deaths by Ebola have passed 5,000.
Ebola is still spreading. And signs of a vaccine are actually starting to come up.
Ebola has affected more than 100,000 people and has killed more than half of them. The virus has been present since 1987, but back then they had a much smaller population, so it was very easy to control. Now that the population has become so much more back then, it was very hard to contain. Ebola isn't expected to spread into more major countries as of yet. It's predicted to stay in the two countries it's affected the most, which is Sierra Leone and Guinea. So I guess we can all just be considered safe, but you never know.
Ebola is really dangerous.
A vaccine coming through are actually really high. It's expected by next year that only 5% of people infected with Ebola will actually die. And the good thing is, the even better thing is that within the next 2 weeks or 1 week, they'll actually start giving out the vaccine to patients. So more people are getting cured.
So I'm also going to be talking about the 10 main facts that must be known about Ebola. Okay, so the current Ebola outbreak is the most widespread and is mostly in West Africa. Travel warnings have been issued to Sierra Leone, West Africa and New Guinea. Main entry points to the United States and West Africa, and even when you're leaving those countries, screen test for Ebola. Early Ebola symptoms are also symptoms for other viral infections. Now, once you get Ebola, bleeding from lots of places is very common in later stages. Ebola is often fatal. New Ebola medications are in development. Right now there is no vaccine that has been made to prevent Ebola or cure it. And also Ebola is currently not a risk to the public in the United States since there are no known patients who have Ebola. Ebola can be spread by touching an infected person, sharing needles with them, or also getting spat on by a person with Ebola. Ebola, when transferred, has an incubation period of 21 days. The symptoms during the incubation period is also similar to symptoms that patients show during other viral infections. And so the doctors need to wait till the patient actually starts dying to pretty much do something about it so that they know whether it's Ebola or it's some other viral infection. The longest period of time anyone has ever survived with Ebola is between 2 to 3 weeks. So that pretty much sums up how fatal the disease is. Ebola is really serious, so making fun of it isn't really that funny. Thanks.
Okay, now let's learn about where Ebola has spread till now. It started in West Africa, in Sierra Leone, and also there were Ebola occurrences around the world. People got to know about Ebola. People thought that the public of these countries are affected with Ebola. These countries are Congo, America, England, China. Such countries, people actually thought they were affected by Ebola, but they weren't. And no, cut that. Okay, Ebola, well, it has been spread from Sierra Leone, Liberia, most of West Africa. It's people actually get the wrong meaning that all of Africa is affected by Ebola. No, it's not. A part of Africa is affected, not all of it. And then we have also seen occurrences of Ebola, pop-ups of people having Ebola in America, China, Congo, England. I mean, there are a lot of places, we have to be sure. Ebola is spreading around the world and it might be coming to your country, so please stay updated on the news, watch the news every day, get to know where is Ebola spreading around, and it's good to stay updated with the news. Prevention of Ebola. Now, to all of these guys who want to stay away from Ebola, which I'm thinking you should, here are some ways to prevent from Ebola. So there has been a quarantine of people from Ebola, and then they banned planes from the places which are affected with Ebola arriving to their country, all of these type of things. But you should do something too yourself, man. You should not just rely on the government to take care of you. I mean, you're grown up. Let's learn some ways how you can protect yourself from Ebola. Let's learn some ways how you can protect yourself from Ebola and not get Ebola. Just like that. So it's avoid contact with body fluids with another person. I know you love each other's, but avoid the person who has Ebola. That's really dangerous. And yeah, it's not if you touch them you get Ebola. It's if you exchange body fluids with them. And also, if you meet in a car accident, don't just check for the blood group, but check for the diseases in it. If it has Ebola, if it has HIV, it's good to be sure what type of blood you're taking in your body. Yeah. And then, I know, don't do drugs, kids, but avoid sharing of needles, even if it's in the hospital. And, seriously, avoid needles, sharing needles. Only use needles and injections for prescribed medication. Don't do drugs. Kids, don't do drugs, and avoid sharing of needles if you want to prevent yourself from Ebola. And then, here's another thing, just wash your hands regularly. It's not going to take much time, just go to the sink, wash your hands, just find a place of clean water, go there, wash your hands. It should be clean. And then, because our hands, as you see, we touch it everywhere. We touch the wall, we touch it on the camera, we touch it everywhere. I mean, it's full of bacteria, man. There are 1 billion in there. So if you just keep on touching them and just keeping in your mouth, you're gonna get a lot of bacteria. So it's good to wash your hands to stay away from the viruses and bacteria that will affect your body. And then the main ways, like if you get a cut and anything like that, just go treat it. If you treat injuries, there's a good chance of preventing Ebola. And suppose, and the best and main way, the main thing is that if you go to the places which are affected with Ebola, it's better to go to a hospital within the first 21 days and check if you're affected by Ebola. Just to take precautionary methods, nothing to say that you are. Just, it's better to go to the doctor and check. And it's good to know about Ebola, and if you have it. Now let's learn about the symptoms of Ebola. There are many symptoms of Ebola. The first one is fever. If you get a high fever and it lasts for a long time, go to the doctor. The other one is rash. If you get a rash on your hand or anywhere, just go see the doctor, and if it lasts for a long time, that's why I told the prevention of treating cuts. If you treat cuts on your hand, it will be safe and you might avoid getting rashes. And also other main causes are headaches, nausea. I mean, if it lasts for a long time, there's something wrong. You have to go and check with the doctor there. And then here are the other two are like vomiting and stomach pain. If those occur, everybody would recommend to go to the doctor. I mean, like, they shouldn't stay in there for a long time. Well, I hope the following information helped you a lot in learning about Ebola, and stay updated.
The chances of dying from Ebola are reduced to 5% by next year February. This is resulting because of the vaccine. We hope you have found this video helpful and informative. A comment and a like is appreciated. To find more information, click the link down below. There'll be more about Ebola, and there's a survey. Thanks for watching.